Men wed women, a significant event in life. In the play itself we cannot find it, wasting efforts searching without a clue. These 4 lines, a reflection on life, the greatest concern is human relations, the heaviest burden, marriage and partnership. By Aiyuezhuren, a play within a play by Aiyuezhuren, produced by Yanji Chen. Act I Tan Chuyu. Wonders untold. Talented individuals often contribute remarkable texts and unusual stories. Nurtured in his mother's womb, he knew people. Known as a child prodigy, his fame spread far and wide. From the waters of Utian, a national treasure emerged. Early wisdom never forgotten, he read strange books as if meeting old friends. With natural talent, he handled weak pipes as if playing divine music. Let me tell you about one person from the annals of history, from Xianjiang. His name was Tan Shihong, known as Chu Yu, a man of profound knowledge, yet humble. Shamed to claim lineage from a noble clan, though surrounded by prestigious kin, he remained modest. Unfortunately, he lost both parents young, no brothers to lean on. The harsh reality of society led him to leave his hometown, traveling far and wide. Adopting the method of Tai Chi Gong for studying, he sought wisdom from mountains and rivers. His writing was not constrained, filled with vibrant energy. For years, he carried a backpack and traveled between Wu and Yu, selecting poems and arts from the marketplace and selling his own poetic writings to earn a living. The small earnings were just enough to survive. At age of marriageable age, he had yet to form a family, feeling lonely and forlorn. There were many unsolved mysteries. Why could not a talented person find a wife? As the saying goes, 2 exceptional things must unite for a remarkable partnership. This kind of love connection is hard to come by. Some friends invited me to join them today. One day, Tan Chuyu pondered. I've arrived in Sanju and heard that this place has many female actors on stage. I have some outstanding debts to settle, so I'll send them ahead. Now, having finished my writing, I might as well go for a walk. As he walked along the way, people who had gone to watch the play returned, and then I'll have my explanation ready. Tan Chuyu said, No matter. I'll stand here by the roadside and wait for them to pass. Before he could finish speaking, a woman in front exclaimed, Who took my shoes? If you return them, all is well. If not, I'll make you take them back to my home. Others said, Surely it was this bald donkey who stole them. The crowd ignored her, except for a middle-aged monk who smiled faintly. The monk refused to hand them over, and the crowd searched him, finding the shoes hidden in his robes. Give me a moment, the monk requested. I have a purpose for these shoes. After 9 years of meditation, I will wear them on my staff as I head west. The crowd burst into laughter, and the monk left. Tan Shengyun said, These men and women are of no consequence. What virtue does this play hold if we must crowd and jostle to see it, creating such a display of ugliness? Just as he spoke, he noticed 2 friends who had come to meet him among the crowd. He approached them and asked, What good is this play? The 2 replied, This play is called Danzai Ban, and every performer in the troupe is exceptional. Most notably, there's a female lead named Liu Xuanxian. Her beauty needs no description. If I were to describe her features, your brother, who is well versed in these things, would still find it difficult to remain unmoved. There are a few ready phrases that I will share with you. Too much powder makes her face too pale, too much rouge makes her cheeks too red, an addition of 1 centimeter makes her height excessive, and subtracting 1 centimeter makes her too short. Tan Shengyun replied, I fear they exaggerate. If you do not believe me, wait a day or 2. There will be another performance where you can come and see for yourself. Tan Shengyun added, That is the most wonderful thing. He then sang a few lines. National beauty is rarely encountered. Do not mistake flower-like eyes for discerning flower appearances. With this opportunity, she sets a high standard, and her beauty becomes apparent even when standing among flowers. They spoke of Liu Xuanxian's husband, Liu Wenqing, who also performed in the troupe. Since winning Xuanxian's heart, he had begun to earn a substantial share of the profits. In a world where many female actors struggle to make ends meet, he alone thrives financially. This is due to his natural beauty and the blessings of the 8 immortals. Stepping onto the stage, he transforms into a fairy-like figure. Additionally, his memory is exceptionally good. During his early days of learning the art, he memorized all the scripts for leading roles, and when he takes the stage, he can portray any character, be it male or female, and make it his own. Whether he portrays a man or a woman, his performance captivates audiences. Moreover, he has surrounded himself with those who are willing to spend money freely, which only adds to his allure. As a result, in no more than 10 years, He has accumulated significant wealth, enough to set him and his family up for life. However, when Xuanxian gave birth to a daughter named Mogu at the age of 14, she was even more beautiful than her mother. Although she had been taught literature and other subjects from a young age, she had not studied acting. Acting is not a woman's forte. When Xuanxian suggested that her daughter learn the art, Mogu refused, stating, "Mother, being a woman is no excuse to ignore household duties. If I must learn it, I will only do so in the context of scripts that allow me to uphold my dignity and virtue." Xuanxian replied, "As a parent, we want our daughter to contribute to family wealth. Yet, here you are being so stubborn. We women, caring not for holidays nor valuing modesty, once our minds are set, treat encounters with men as mere performances." He takes it seriously, but I consider it a joke. The sentimental and intimate moments, I view them lightly. First, my body remains unharmed. Second, this is loyalty, so why such strict adherence? An ancient saying goes, "Don't get stuck in artificial constraints. Exchange false intentions for genuine wealth and favor." We regard feather pillows and down comforters as stage props. I have 3 secrets to share with you. As your mother, I don't tell you to freely mix with everyone or sleep with anyone you meet. If you follow these tactics, you'll gain both name and reality, admired by the wise and simple for a lifetime of use. Listen as I explain. Called permitted to watch, not to eat, permitted to name, not to be real, and permitted to plan, not to achieve. Auntie asked, "How is it permitted to watch but not eat?" Jade Fairy said, "During performance time, every part of our bodies is on display. Even when we're not performing, we generally interact and flirt with others. The only thing off limits is this delicious bun right here." Auntie exclaimed, "So, permitted to name but not real?" Jade Fairy replied, "If a wealthy merchant prince or son of a noble family wants to be serious with me, I'll agree in word, but you must delay it from happening." That's called permitted to name, not to be real. Auntie asked, "What about permitted to plan, not to achieve?" Jade Fairy said, "If we encounter foolish young men who are sincere and offer a lot of money, I'll readily agree, making them scheming all day long without hesitating to spend. That's called permitted to plan, not to achieve. However, later on, it will be treated as a spring dream. I won't give myself to him." Auntie said, "If you're not willing to give yourself, why don't you simply refuse them directly and avoid these many tricks? If they taste it, their plans are ruined. It's like a hungry person encountering food they can only smell it, not taste it." Jade Fairy explained, "My daughter, you don't know that men and women usually don't share genuine affection. Instead, it's in the fleeting glances. There's no excitement or drama like that. My daughter, you're so smart. Come up with a name for this group." As they were talking, Liu Wenqing arrived at the door and said, "The small group is almost complete, with 98 members already." Auntie suggested, "Since it's a small group, let's call it Jade Sprout, a symbol of abundance before flowering." Wenqing agreed. The 2 characters are perfect. Just 1 more character is needed for the group. I'll write an invitation and post it on the door. People will come naturally. Only 1 position remains open. The invitation read, "The newly formed Jade Sprout Group seeks members who possess both name and form. Those interested in joining, please visit soon to share your wisdom. Those who encourage bad conduct, aiming to destroy modesty and honor, he won't learn." Wenqing replied, "That's easy." Auntie said, "Since my child is learning performances, I won't stop him from doing so. However, there's 1 condition. He will only learn scenes that promote loyalty, honesty, and virtue, nothing related to immorality or lewd songs." Auntie thought to herself, while not saying it aloud, "I wonder what kind of person that real-life guy is." She then composed a poem. If he's good-looking, it would be a blessing for me. A poem says, "The bamboo shoot, though named exquisite, is not easily distinguished from the greater. The small group surpasses the large in its peculiarity. Rao, with his on-stage prowess, exhausts his art. Ultimately, it does not suit a woman. To understand the future, listen to the next installment." Second, retelling the city's beauty unfolds before, radiant and charming, a talent worthy of the stage, forever in our hearts. Days later, friends invited. "Shall we attend the play tonight?" "Excellent! A fine opportunity." "Excellent," exclaimed Tan Chuyu. They arrived at the theater, yet no one was there. The actresses on stage possess a grace not mirrored below. "Here, let us discern true talent." A friend suggested, "Perhaps the actors are late." Let us wait here at this crossroads, and when Liu Xiang passes by, we shall admire his graceful strides and then follow him to the play, for what could be more fitting? Tan Chuyu questioned. How can one have two different appearances? The ugly becomes uglier, the beautiful more so. His friend replied, this principle is somewhat perplexing. The velvet cloth of the stage, a peculiar entity, greatly enhances or distorts beauty. If you doubt this, test it yourself. At that moment, a crowd arrived. Tan Chuyu inquired, is Liu Xiang the one at the front? Indeed, his friend affirmed. My words are not far off, are they? Tan Chuyu agreed. His friend continued, a woman's beauty reaches its peak here. How could there be a rival? Upon closer inspection, I believe she surpasses even her mother. This very girl behind us, with her graying hair, is none other than Tian Xiang's exquisite beauteous own daughter, named Mo Gu. Tan Chuyu thought, this woman is like a pearl in the womb or a gem inside the shell, unpolished yet exquisite. Only those with discerning eyes can recognize this. Such knowledge must be kept secret. If it were known, these treasures of the world would be mine alone. He concluded, let him speak as he wishes. I understand in my heart. To make contact we must begin when she is still uncorrupted. Let us enjoy the play, and after her performance, return home behind her to learn her abode. Then a plan can be formed. He turned and said, indeed, you possess discernment. The girl we just saw, charming at first sight, will leave no lasting impression afterward. Go watch the play. Do not delay. This aligns with, one moment on stage surpasses 1,000 gold coins. Don't waste time with idle words. A friend chanted. Gathering friends to watch the show breaks the silence. Critical voices and colorful comments stir enthusiasm. At the theater, the play. Not all possess the world's keenest vision, but heaven bestows its secrets upon a select few. West Shi returns to lake had already begun, followed by curtains drawn, dresses ready. It seems like you've provided a text in Japanese not ko as mentioned, and you're asking for an English translation. Here it is. Indeed, everyone praises and admires him. But Tan Cheng has something else on his mind, so although he sings well, he resents not being able to leave immediately. So he sighed and said, since meeting Liu Xiaogu, my spirit has flown away. When the time comes for the killing scene, Tan Cheng squeezes through the crowd and escorts him home, still feeling excited, only to fall asleep as soon as he returns to his place. This is what they say. If you don't see it, you won't be satisfied. If you don't move, you won't get what you want. Such rare treasures are not only hard to come by these days, but even from ancient times until now, a few have been born. I am a romantic at heart. How could I let her slip through my fingers? If he encounters a young man, it would not be surprising if she becomes someone's wife. During the day, I send him home and memorize his residence, visit his neighbors, and learn that this woman, though of humble origin, has high aspirations and is interested in acting. However, there's one thing heard about his parents, who, although they encourage him to study acting, are extremely strict in their leisure time, not out of concern for virtue but to accumulate wealth. I've tried every trick to find a way to elevate myself, but there's no suitable path. They hide their true intentions behind the facade of artistic cultivation, hoping to sell it at a high price. There's only one solution that would work, but it's such a lowly plan, not something a scholar like me would do. He has a notice on his door, seeking a barefoot girl. But this business, how could we possibly handle it? If she agrees to join the class and learn acting alongside him, the chance for this relationship is almost certain. After a long time, he realized that there was no other way to pursue this opportunity. Very well, acting does interfere with moral teachings, and romantic sentiments are something I can't express now. Even if we do manage to prepare, who knows if the makeup will hold up. Besides, if we enroll in the class, perhaps the performance won't be ready yet, and even if it is, we might not have time to practice our roles before we leave. So, he decided to leave. Thorns are not a suitable habitat for pheasants. Seeking a path only leads to confusion. A bond was formed in life, and I borrow the words of scholars to justify myself. The other day he posted a notice, but no one responded. However, Liu Wenqing has always wanted to form a small class, with just one more barefoot student needed. Wenqing told Xianxin, I've already arranged for a renowned teacher to open the class today. Once everyone is here and the roles are ready, I'll start teaching them. I will stand at the door to greet them. Call the children to prepare the sacrificial offerings, as we need to burn some paper when everyone arrives. After saying this, he stepped outside to watch, and there was Tan Chuyu. Tan Cheng approached him with a bow and said, "Are you Master Liu? My name is Tan Chuyu. I've come to offer my services. I heard that your household has formed a small class, looking for one more barefoot student." Wenqing, overjoyed at the news, responded, "How interesting! You're not just an educated person but willing to learn acting? This is indeed good fortune for our small class. Since this is the case, let's open the class together once everyone arrives. Please have a seat inside while we prepare." Shortly after, everyone arrived, and everyone paid their respects. The teacher also came. Tan Cheng asked, "Who is Ergu God?" Wenqing said, "Have the children bring the sacrificial offerings and perform the ritual for Ergu God." Wenqing replied, "You don't know? Every teaching has its spiritual leader. Aiyuezhuren, the second god, is a master of performance. Our esteemed teacher, the ancestor, is truly spiritual and manifestly powerful. Unlike the leaders of Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism who have families and don't remember people's minor transgressions, he can discern any ambiguity or uncertainty within the class. Whether it brings calamity or illness, he will surely make it known. Remember this carefully and avoid his prohibitions." Master Tan says, "What are these prohibitions? Please let me know a few from my teacher." Wenqing replies, "The most important prohibition is that students must adhere to rules and not engage in improper conduct. It could be older students bullying younger ones or men making lewd remarks at women. He takes these things very seriously." Tan Sin, upon hearing this, reflects, "Given the situation, my path has clearly gone astray. I can't turn back now, so what should I do?" Just then, Wenqing brings out Mogu from inside and says, "My child, this is your teacher, pay him respect." He then points to everyone and says, "These are your classmates, all come forward and greet him." Mogu, upon seeing Tan Sin, is surprised. He's a scholar. I met him on the road yesterday. How did he become interested in acting? He looks at Chuyu and realizes, "Ah, I understand now." Mogu and Chuyu each silently pray in their hearts, "If I sit next to him, things will be easier for me." Even though it may be unusual, her willingness to perform this humiliating task herself shows her unwavering determination. However, the cast list only features many leading roles, with various questions and answers requiring them to share a space. Mogu is a female lead, while Chuyu is a male role. How could they possibly sit together? When the arrangements are finalized, the master randomly chooses one, and everyone picks up their scripts performing a duet. Wenqing says, "Today I've prepared some thin wine for us to sherry-on to honor the teacher and another to celebrate our new friendship. Recognize that behind the stage door there are no distinctions. Tui is guarded by the second god." He recites a line that encapsulates the essence of their shared space, classmates from the same family, men and women bound by affection. There must be a reason for his presence in the class. After the ceremony ends, Mogu returns to her embroidery room, thinking, "That scholar not only has a handsome appearance and an air of composure, he doesn't seem like a typical person. He gave me a lingering glance yesterday on the road. Today's visit is undoubtedly meant for me." Tan Lang, you may appreciate the allure of sweet words but didn't realize the worth of an excellent performer. If you want to learn together, embrace the beauty of the stage and don't be shy about becoming a female role if it means studying under him. I won't let you down. This is indeed groundbreaking, the first of its kind from ancient to modern times, a love story blossoming between master and student. Having met such parents and embarked on this journey, I wouldn't expect much. It's best to accept his offer and make him my lifelong support. Today's bow is a clandestine seal, an oath made to heaven. Those present are like makeup artists and matchmakers, the fragrant breeze of the wedding ceremony itself. From now on, if you have a sincere desire to learn acting, embrace your true calling. I correspond to you as a couple, and these cheap corners should not be taken by others. Why do you turn into flowers? This is precisely. Don't wonder at mismatches in marriages just like actors on stage. How could this be good? I have always been a passionate person. Today, upon seeing him, I couldn't help but feel dazed, and I still can't sleep soundly until now. Let it be. I will imagine his every detail, the clouds and rain, the silk and affection, the words by my side, the pigeons in bed. Even if I can't feast on rich food or quench my thirst, I won't stop hoping for a taste of plums. We'll wait until tomorrow when I see him again, then we'll make sense of it. To know the aftermath, listen to the next chapter. Third chapter, Mao Gu, a relative Mrs. Chuyu. There's no need to say anything more. Chuyu also thinks to herself, for Liu Mao Gu, I not only abandoned my fame and wealth, but also betrayed my lifelong virtue. Amidst the chaos, there are distinct places. Thinking about it after entering the troupe, we became as close as family members, both inside and outside without distinction, without any prejudice, but the rules within the theater are even more different. For all female actors in the world, anyone can play with them, except for fellow brothers in the same troupe, who cannot be played with. This absurd custom originated from somewhere. They say there's a second son of the god of war who handles these idle affairs. So in this theater, not only are there teachers and parents restricting us, but even our fellow troupe members must watch over each other. I can only communicate through eyebrows and eyes, just showing my intentions. For a month since entering the troupe, let alone doing something different, I haven't even been able to exchange a few words with others. This constant thinking of meeting is even more difficult than not seeing each other. This group, except for Tan Sheng, are all local youth. They go home both during meals and at night, but Chu Yu has been staying in the theater since she joined. Chu Yu and Mao Gu, though they share a face, never talk to each other. One day after breakfast, Mao Gu came to the theater, just as others hadn't arrived yet. Only Chu Yu was there. Chu Yu saw her, both happy and afraid. She greeted Mao Gu. "What should we do now? You and I could fulfill our wishes there," Mao Gu said. "There's a small room at the back of this house. Though it's messy, people seldom come here." Mao Gu held Chu Yu's hand, and Chu Yu clung to Mao Gu's arm. Though they are close relatives, they didn't say a word, fitting the ancient saying, "Filled with heart matters without a word when meeting." Chu Yu agreed. Mao Gu rouged her cheeks, and Chu Yu felt unsure with her hands. Just as they were about to step out, someone entered from outside, making them both hurry up. After all, this is a small clown who doesn't understand these things, so he didn't reveal any signs. Taking slow steps, he said, "Oh, I came early. There are still early birds. Let's think of some fun while our master isn't here. If he comes, we'll be restricted again." Mao Gu asked. "What kind of fun?" The clown replied, "Let's back and forth." Chu Yu didn't want to, but Mao Gu looked at her with eyes, so Chu Yu said, "This is very clever." Auntie said, "Let you two carry me first, then I'll carry each of you. That's fair." In her heart, she intended to take advantage of them, but the clown didn't know. So she pushed Chu Yu and said, "You go first." Chu Yu replied, "I'll go first." Auntie said, "According to age, Tan should carry me first." The clown said, "I agree too. I can't be asked to go any further." Chu Yu agreed. "He'll sit on the west chair. I'll carry him to the east and then return to place him back on his chair. That counts as one trip." Auntie took a pair of tiny golden lotuses and placed them on Chu Yu's arm. She first touched his lips, then his throat. Chu Yu couldn't help laughing uncontrollably, and the clown also cheered excitedly. The way Chu Yu's two hands rested under Auntie's buttocks needs no further explanation. Just as they were about to turn around at the east end, the master entered. Hearing the commotion inside, he coughed once. The master came in and asked, "Why are you three making so much noise?" The three of them looked like rats in a maze, each searching for their own spot and settling down. "Tell me quickly." The clown said, "We're just rehearsing our lines here. We weren't misbehaving." So for almost 3 months, there wasn't a continuous moment of practice. The master replied, "Mind your business. If you can't remember your lines tomorrow, I'll settle accounts with you." From that day on, no matter how eager they were, the master's cough made them feel as if the North Sea was tilting, extinguishing their fire completely. When the time comes to memorize lines, I'll sneak it to him when everyone isn't looking. Chu Yu thought to himself, "I have no choice now. I'll put my efforts into studying and my sincere intentions into writing a secret note, rolling it up into a ball. If he sees it, there will surely be a response. But what if someone finds it? That's a problem. Well, I have a reason. These foolish actors may know a few words, but they don't understand the meaning at all. Now I'll make the bookish meanings deeper and write in more difficult characters. I want to learn acting, so I should learn how to perform as a principal role. Even if everyone understands neither the text nor the actions, his parents might send it to him, but they won't be able to find any flaws. It'll have some scholar's demeanor, and even if my past life had nothing to do with him, we could still create a story on stage, expressing our hearts from one side to the other. I'll call him husband, and he'll call me wife, which would be good for ending this dream." She rolled up the note and not only shared secrets, but also expressed their unity. The next day after lunch, everyone gathered. The master told them, "Our class has been studying play texts for a month, but we haven't mastered even a couple." However, Chu Yu and Auntie, who play the female and male roles, have done very well in memorizing lines. Nur is her master's daughter, so she can't beat him. The clown said, "It's not their fault. It's because the female and male roles are both bad. Xiao Tan, that scoundrel, will not let him off. I'm refusing to get beaten today, but if I do, I'll take it out on him. Me and you together, we'll pull it down," said the teacher. "Otherwise it can be forgiven, but what annoys me is that he's wearing a square scarf, trying to look all refined." Just as they were talking, the master came in. "When the master arrives, each of us will take our turn," he said. "Bring your scripts up, everyone. I'll have you recite them, line by line. If you can back it up, stop, but if not, you'll be beaten again." Nur and Chuyu had already recited their parts yesterday. He called out to Mo, "Your turn." Mo said, "The student only has one script. Bring yours forward." The master said, "They're all pretty weak with just 2 scripts between them, while you have one. Wind and dust shrouding the 4 corners is from that one." Nur answered, "That's a line from Hong Fuji. It's called Tier upon Tier." The master said, "All right, I'll cut you some slack this time, but next time aim to recite more scripts." He then called out to Jing and told her to bring hers forward. She replied, "It's very familiar to me. I don't need to recite it." The master said, "Nonsense. Bring it here right now." Jing whispered to Chuyu, "If I can't remember it, ask the master to prompt me. I have a place for him to stay." Xiao Chao just laughed. "It's all your fault for showing off. If you let me recite, I'll help beat him up. If not, I'll help him beat you." Chuyu said, "Just go ahead and recite it, I'll prompt you." The master began, "A son is entrusted to his parents." Mo then recited her lines. The teacher continued, "A precious burden," and Chuyu joined in with the rest. Mo immediately began reciting the whole passage fluently. The master said, "Fine, no need to recite the names, just focus on the lyrics." The master frowned and hit Mo on the head. "Why not a single correct line?" Mo explained, "The music is very familiar to me, but I got distracted talking." Mo just recited 2 lines before the master ordered them to start from scratch. The master said, "I'll give you another chance. Teach your child ancient texts." "Going forward," Mo insisted, "I can get it back if I recite a bit more." The master angrily barked out, "With idiots like you, even your own music you can't remember. Remember well and sing well. Xiao Tan Chu Yu, he's a good-for-nothing face, but at least he remembers these songs. If you're not ashamed after listening, get up now and take a beating. Go!" Everyone agreed. He administered over 10 blows and said, "If you can't recite it again, I'll beat you to death alive." The teacher said, "When I return from paying my respects, don't be stingy, nor whisper among yourselves, don't say idle talk." He then adjusted his clothes and left. Mai, Chetka. Just as he was about to enter, he turned to the ugly one and asked, "Do you remember what we said earlier?" The ugly one replied, "I do." In his heart he thought, "If he wants to beat Little Tam, he's asking me to be a helper. I suspect Little Tam will ask me to sing his song. How can I beat him?" He said to the correct birth, "I'll help you with that. It doesn't matter. I'll just help him curse for a while, and when he gets into a physical altercation with him, I'll lend Little Tam my fists and give him a good beating at perfect solution." The correct birth then turned to Jade and said, "You study your play, and I'll study mine. Why are you being so clever in front of our teacher and putting me at a disadvantage by getting beat up?" Little Tam said, "It's because the master asked me to sing. It has nothing to do with me." The correct birth said, "Even if the master asked you to sing, you should have replied that you didn't remember. Why did you actually start singing?" He grabbed Jade's square handkerchief and said, "Since you're learning acting, you should naturally wear a hat too. Why are you wearing this turtle shell? Can you read a few words just because you know some characters? All of you get to work." The 3 started beating each other. The pure one shouted, "Beat that doghead." The pure one was cursing Jade, but he was actually hitting the correct birth. They twisted and turned until they had the correct birth pinned down on the ground. Man thought to herself, "I pretended to go and advise him. First, I'll grasp Tam Lang's hand and get close to him. That's good. Second, I'll help Tam Lang and give him a few hits to letting off steam for him." She reached out and grabbed Little Tam's hand. Tam Lang caught on and pulled her. She bent forward, taking advantage of their distraction, though they couldn't fully express themselves. They shared a kiss anyway. The pure one pressed down on the correct birth's head, while Jade pulled Ma'am with one hand and hit the correct birth with the other. The deputy was trying to dissuade them from fighting. Little Tam was sobbing on the ground. he said from outside. "Stop their nonsense. I'll pretend to be the master's voice and yell at them a few times. They'll scatter naturally." "No." He went outside and shouted loudly. "Who are those creatures inside making noise? Open the door quickly. Wait for me to come in." Indeed, they scattered, each returning to their original position, and began reciting their scripts. From outside, he waved his hands and climbed up. Those who had been causing trouble earlier made everyone angry. Everyone saw that it wasn't the master and started arguing again. "From outside," he said, "let's all just recite a few lines." Ma'am took her place and thought to herself, "When I advised him earlier, little Tam gave me something. I wonder what it is." After looking at it, she nodded and said, "It turns out this is an interesting little piece. I wanted to write some words but couldn't pass them on." She then addressed everyone. "These 2 songs actually have some meaning. It's fine. These fools here are all clueless, so I'll turn his words into a song, sing it loudly for him, and while everyone is reciting their scripts, they won't even know. I'll sing one to them now. Golden chains seem to lock, the subtlest hint. Knowing it's a defense against treachery. 2 sides, like keys fitting locks, the riddle's hard to fathom. You have forced me to bend my will, adding to my sorrow. How could you expect me to be at ease? My heart belongs to him, and in the dark we hope for a future together, regardless of what heaven and earth may say. If he changes his mind, it would suit my wishes perfectly. I carefully considered this, and there is a clever plan. I want to persuade my father to act, but I fear it might arouse suspicion. I'll tell you, the key lies in separation, just like a flock of birds that don't mind being apart." Chuyu listened and exclaimed, "Such a brilliant girl has recited the letter loudly to everyone. It seems he is even cleverer than me. Only I understand. Those fools are like people in a dream. The first one is about my marriage, and the second calls for a change of lifestyle. Among all this, only I benefit. The rest are useless. When Master returns, we can act according to plan. He tells me not to perform purification rituals in front of his father, and if I insist on leaving, he won't stop me from pursuing a new life, truly an excellent strategy." Master returned and said, "When visiting friends, we play. When teaching students, we instruct. Everything is a performance, but only hard work bears fruit. Have you all completed your tasks?" The crowd answered, "We have." Master replied, "Then go about your business." Only Chuyu remained standing. Master asked, "Why don't you leave?" Chuyu responded, "I have something to say, so I'm not going." And I asked that Master call over the householder. Wen Qing emerged and said, "The Western teacher calls urgently, and the Eastern host is deep in distress. Without a rush, he seeks only gold." "Master, what is your intention?" Master explained, "This student has asked me to summon you. He says he wants to part ways with his teacher, thank his master, and return home tomorrow." Wen Qing wondered, now that he's learned the art of performance, why does he want to go back? When I first arrived, I only spoke of performing great rituals, whether as Guan Yunlong or Chubo Wang. Although I sought a few dramatic moments, achieving heroism in every way, it wasn't without substance. But now, in 10 plays, there's only 1 or 2 roles for gentlemen, and the rest are all villains, with no dignity whatsoever, not something a person would do. Master said, "Since you refuse to perform as a flower-faced character, why leave then?" Wen Qing retorted, "Given this, Master, simply choose a role. As for the main character, I can't move, so he'll play the old man." Chuyu added, "To transform a bearded man into a female warrior is to lose the essence of masculinity." Wen Qing suggested, "How about playing a young man?" Chuyu countered, "This role is acceptable, but there's one thing. In the script, the young male characters are either driven by others' achievements or help them gain fame. There's no instance of him standing on his own merits, unlike what I've done." Master pondered and said, "His words indicate that he wants to perform as a leading man. Based on his physique and vocal abilities, I think he has the potential. Let's follow his choice." Wen Qing expressed concern. Among all the roles, only leads and supporting actors endure the most pressure. Only fear that a scholar like you wouldn't tolerate this kind of work. They're often on stage for longer periods, while there are few grand pieces for other roles." Chuyu replied, "If he's willing to endure it, I will too. We share his hardships and joys, that's all." Wen Qing said, "Swap roles. You do the living, and I'll do the flower face. There's nothing more to discuss." Chuyu replied, "Since that's the case, I suppose I have no choice but to accept a lower position." "Nah, I've been honest with you." At first, my entry into the class was fake, but now I'm making it real. From then on, pure feet became the norm for promotions, and today, promotions are based on pure feet. Want to use the theater stage to climb up? Don't limit qualifications with abilities. Since Chuyu turned pure-footed, during practice sessions, she sits next to Mogu, and during song sessions, she shares space with Mogu's husband and wife. Although they cannot share a bed, compared to before, things are much easier. To know their story, listen to the next chapter. 4th chapter. A single person from a village is respected as if he possesses 10,000 gold coins, using thousands of gold coins to court Mogu. Chuyu and Mogu touched hands with their fingers and communicated with their eyes. There was no need for words. In the town, there was a wealthy merchant and local official named Qian Wangwan. His family had mountains of gold and silver, like grains of sand. He owned vast fields scattered across each county, unable to collect all the tax payments from the north, south, east, and west. His wealth extended far and wide, but he collected no interest on loans made during spring, summer, or autumn. He was known for his harsh treatment. Don't laugh at a tiger until it's done. Prepare your claws and you'll be feared. He took beautiful concubines and kept exotic princesses, saying, "Even beggars have homes. Why wouldn't the rich be proud of their wives?" This was considered minor. According to an ancient saying, wealth breeds officials. Even if one passed as a provincial exam or became a jinshi, they'd still need to pay a few silver coins. The merchant who made and sold top hats never gave them away for free. They said that high officials were cautious, but they didn't fare any better than his other paths. He couldn't hold prominent positions, and he wasn't even chosen as a county chief after rolling up land deeds. Seeing him, you'd shake your head. At home, he strutted around like a dignitary, and when out in public, he boomed like an official. One day, he gathered everyone and said, "Since I became a county magistrate after paying my taxes, I've had access to countless silver coins. I served for less than 3 years before retiring and returning home. Now, every time a county official visits, they use a life income certificate to show respect. They all come to pay their respects." Those tenant farmers and creditors were terrified upon seeing them. If one owed even a drop of rice or a coin, they'd write a letter to send it to him. Who could refuse? It seems my living arrangements have been beneficial. I'm in the country, not the city. If I lived in town, I wouldn't be able to match the achievements of those who took this backwater path. The only downside is that my parents-in-law won't come down from the city for no reason. My prestige only comes out a couple times a year. I can barely fit into my top hat and round-collared coat. They'll definitely come see me. Today, I heard that the county officials are going to visit each village, inspecting house registers. The local government has prepared a feast, inviting me along, which makes me even prouder. Tell the servants, take this opportunity to review all the land and tax records. If there's any outstanding debt, we'll send them to the officials for follow-up. In the midst of their conversation, they noticed several rural folk dressed in blue coarse cloth, wearing felt hats with turned-up edges, all kneeling and saying, "Due to the county's 3 administrations coming to inspect the tax records, it has always been just a matter of collecting some routine fees in past years. However, now that they have gathered here, we want to send them off properly, as having a guest would be more polite. Traditionally, when government officials visit a town, there is a table set for them at which to rest and have a meal. We have prepared one as well, asking you, sir, to join us as a companion. In case of any shortcomings on our part, we kindly request your assistance." Mangwan replied, "My letter is something I never lightly issue. Moreover, due to my poor health, I cannot accompany them in drinking, so please find someone else." The crowd responded, "In this town, there is only one gentleman among you, and not a second one." Mangwan said, "You yourself are sufficient. Why insist on having a gentleman?" They said, "Sir, mocking us? We commoners how dare use such letters or act as companions?" Mangwan exclaimed, "Ah, it seems there is indeed a distinction between officials and citizens. Since that's the case, why do you treat me with such disregard day after day?" One of the family members, kneeling down, reported, "These people are either tenants or debtors, each with unclear accounts." Mangwan retorted, "So, if you respect me, why won't you settle your debts? I am about to send off the 3 administrations, having them confront each other face to face. I wish to break every bone in your body for meddling in affairs that are none of your business." Upon hearing this, the crowd was left speechless. They said, "We don't need you to send them off. We will settle the debts." Mangwan proposed, Since that's how it is, I suggest we maintain appearances and place all the collected silver here, allowing me to deliver it. Request a proper feast for the officials. There must be some sea delicacies, while ordinary dishes are not suitable. Additionally, as I have been too lazy to leave my home these past 2 days, I will have them brought over here. Moving forward, you should be more mindful of your language and manners. There may be some shortcomings on our end, which I shall address on your behalf. You cannot keep referring to me with such fixed terminology. Is it not possible to add a single character? Money Lord instead of simply... They said, "This is something we were unaware of. From now on, let's call you Old Money Lord," Mangwan advised. "Since that's what you prefer, feel free to use the term more often, making up for past oversights." The crowd kept calling out, and Mangwan responded accordingly. They continued until Mangwan smiled and marked a few points on his head, saying, "This is logical. Have you all finished speaking? My sir is tired, so let's conclude our discussion here. Those with matters to discuss can come forward, while others can step back." They said, "There is one more important matter we need to inform sir about. The Honorable Lord Pinglang Haoyan, the patron deity of this area, has a divine power that is well known. On October 3rd every year, his birthday falls on the day when theater performances are held in celebration. Please, Master Chin, which play shall we choose? You give the command and the servants will take care of it," said Wang Wun. Last year's plays were all performed by the Dancing Peacock troupe. The female lead, Liu Xuanxian, is a good friend of mine, so I'll send someone to fetch her. They are more renowned. The previous year's plays were also by the Dancing Peacock, continued Wang Wun, but they have changed recently. And now the Jade Trellis troupe is performing. The female lead in their play is Liu Xuanxian's daughter, Mo Gu. She is even more beautiful than her mother. "I understand your dilemma," said a servant, "but it seems that both troupes have their merits. Arrange for her to come, please." Wang Wan smiled and replied, "Mo Gu is indeed a remarkable young woman, and I want to see my old friend Liu Xuanxian again." As the servant left, Wang Wan mused, "My daughter has brought me both joy and anger. She is beautiful, but she refuses to compromise her morals and honor. When we arrived in this town, I saw that a local benefactor was funding their performance. He is an old acquaintance of mine, and he spoke highly of my daughter. However, I feared his wealth might tempt her. Upon reaching the town, they found a temple facing south-north with a rapid river flowing nearby. The theater's rear stage was on the southern bank, half of it built over the water. This arrangement ensured that spectators could only watch from a distance, preventing any unsavory interactions, which was essential for a female-led play. After breakfast, a floating bridge was constructed, allowing the performers to reach the stage. Once the show ended, the bridge was removed. After 3 acts of divine drama, the main performance began. When Mu Gu took the stage, she was like a sea nymph, captivating everyone's gaze. Before they could finish half the play, the spectators, from the foolish to the refined, all stood in awe. Truly, every single person praised her strength and beauty. Who would have thought that his daughter could surpass him by a margin of 10-fold? Moreover, with 10,000 silver coins in hand, he thought, "I've been seducing women my whole life. I've seen many beautiful women, but Liu Xiang's grace is unparalleled among humans. How can this be? After watching half the play, my soul felt as if it had been depleted by half. Could there really be no way to win him over?" He then mused, "He may be on stage now, but with just a few extra silver coins at night, he'll be within my grasp. If so, let it be. Wait until he's off stage for dinner, and I'll tease him before we discuss things." Unbeknownst to them, as the other performers left, only Mu Gu remained on stage. Since her performance began, she had only taken a few sips of tea and only descended when it grew dark. This was true today as well. With his desperate longing, the 10,000 silver coins felt their urgency, but he found himself unnaturally calm. Thus, he lost interest in Liu Xiang the divine, unable to muster any warmth towards him. During dinner, Liu Xiang performed the evening act. The servant responded, "Liu Xiang is here." The 10,000 silver coins instructed a servant, "Call Liu Xiang for me. I want to know what he has to say before we proceed." The 10,000 silver coins called him in, and, upon seeing Liu Xiang, grabbed his beard and said, "It's been a year since we last met, old friend. You've aged well. The good life suits you perfectly. Are things good for you?" he asked. Liu Xiang replied, "Not as good as those 2 years ago. Business is slow. My children are ungrateful. Nothing compares to your lifestyle. He continued, "It's been a year since we last met. Did you think of me at all?" "Not only do I think of you often," the 10,000 silver coins said, "I've thought of you every day and night. But today, I don't even think of you anymore." Liu Xiang retorted, "Why bring up past memories, then?" The 10,000 silver coins explained, "I always said your beauty was unmatched in the world, so I couldn't let go of you. Since seeing Ying Ying, however, someone even more charming than you, my heart has shifted. That's why I've been thinking of her day and night, completely forgetting about you today." Unbeknownst to Liu Xiang, this changed everything. The 10,000 silver coins thought, if I say I can't, I won't be able to enjoy his silver tonight. "Let's see. I'll find a way," he told Liu Xiang. "His scent is different from mine. Though we both serve customers, he demands the finest treatment while you don't. But starting tonight, it's impossible for him to come on my command. If you're not offended by his ways, wait until tomorrow and let me discuss this with him in detail." The 10,000 silver coins' words ignited a spark within him. He called a servant. "Tell everyone he doesn't need to wait. Liu Xiang will spend the night here." Liu Xiang replied, "Like that? You've disturbed me again." Wang Guan said, "If you don't want the money, I'd rather have you disturb me often." Xianxin replied, "Our relationship is deep. Who would ask you for money?" Wang Guan said, "The food I lent you is also money." They both undressed and entered the account together. The details of that encounter need not be spoken of again. The next day, Wang Guan said, "Today, let's clear any outstanding balances." Xianxin stood up and left. Until the performance time, Wang Guan did not leave his side for a moment. In the evening, he thought to himself, "I've tried countless ways to approach him, but he paid no attention. I now have a significant sum of money to pursue him and make him my subordinate. It seems there's no other reason. He's clearly unwilling to sell cheaply, choosing instead to wait for a wealthy master who can provide him in large amounts. His mother is delighted with me as well, so he won't likely refuse completely. As they say, money opens eyes." Xianxin explained, "Don't mention it. It's all due to my past mistakes." Xianxin said, "I left a message about Lear for you last night. Why didn't you reply? I'll present him with 1,000 silver yuan when we speak, and place it in front of him. This monster emerged from the depths of my previous life and has been causing trouble with me every day. I've tried several times to talk to him, but whenever I do, he walks away." Wang Guan said, "I have a proposal to make and want to know if you're willing to hear me out. I suppose that unfortunate creature will never flourish under my care, so I'll handle things myself from now on. If you are, not only will I offer you wealth, but I can also save you from much trouble. However, I fear you may not be up for it. She intends to marry a good husband. Leah refuses to accept suitors, which shows her good character. Why don't you consider his proposal? Take some silver and send him away. You buy a woman with the silver and start your own theater company. It's a great business opportunity." Xianxin agreed. "You're right." Wang Guan continued, "He won't accept the silver. That's minor. The real concern is that he might even end up sending all the silver you brought to him back to you. He'll buy someone else out of their troubles, and then they'll be left with nothing but debt. This business venture will fail." Xianxin said, "Even so, it's not as bad as it seems." Wang Guan explained, "You don't understand. There are numerous princes and powerful individuals who would appreciate a woman like Lear. Even if he acts indifferent, his private thoughts might sway him to take action. He could cause you much trouble, making you face charges and humiliation. It's inevitable unless you marry someone of high status." Xianxin responded, "I suppose it is." Wang Guan concluded, "You still don't get it. Just one thing. Wealth doesn't have to be excessive, nor does honor. There are families with immense wealth who would be delighted to welcome her into their fold. If wealth reaches its extreme, it can bring disaster and prevent the enjoyment of blessings until the end. Moreover, if he ascends to a position of power, his pride may lead him to enjoy it when successful but suffer when unsuccessful, making his wife's life miserable. He should not be a major, wealthy, or low-ranking official, but rather a moderate landowning scholar like Methan. He might consider me as his patron." Xianxian said, "This means you intend to marry him." Wang Guan replied with a bow, "I dare not. I have some interest, but I am afraid of being selfish. If you are willing to recommend capable people, even if it's not much, the dowry should be around 1,002 mio silver." He called Mei Xiang and said, "Bring out my agreed-upon dowry." Xianxian thought to herself, he spoke every word accurately. Pointing at the silver, he explained, "This is 52 Mio pieces and 20 envelopes, all tied with delicate red threads, not a single slip. If I had this much silver, I could buy him 10 wives and teach them all the tricks of women's entertainment, but my family background cannot allow for such a thing." Seeing that he had agreed, Wang Guan was overjoyed. "Why is he leaving this behind, constantly teasing me?" Addressing Wang Guan, she said, "Agree to it then, but you must treat her well after marriage." Wang Guan replied, "I will never be disrespectful while living with her on my head." What could be better? He embraced Xiang Xian and began to make arrangements as if they were already husband and wife. Xiang Xian said, initially, "There's nothing wrong, but now that I've grown old, you must be polite." Wang Guan replied, "This is a one-time occurrence. Let's seal our marriage tomorrow and become husband and wife today." The two of them started acting out their roles from the past again. In an instant, the clouds cleared and the rain stopped. "I should prepare," Wang Guan asked. "When will she come?" Xiang Xian said, "Tam Lang's play has only one more performance tomorrow. After it's done, we'll send her over." Unbeknownst to little Auntie, whether or not she married Wang Guan remains to be seen. Let's find out in the next chapter. Mao guessed. "Is it a new costume?" "No," Qianzhen responded. The 6th chapter, depicting marriage through clever arguments and accepting dowry with a sworn promise not to regret, Qianzhen said, "My heart is crystal clear. Guess what?" "No," Mao continued. "Is it 1,000 poems obtained through your mother's cleansong? Then, is it that your mother encountered a wealthy merchant and brought these things for you?" "None of the above." Qianzhen explained. "As I've told you, the items in this trunk are your substitute. With her, your mother won't need you anymore." Mao exclaimed. "So, they don't need me to perform anymore. What a blessing." Qianzhen retorted, "I gave birth to you. I only have one request, just like me. That's why this situation arose. Why do you insist on maintaining your modesty and preserving your reputation?" Mao said, "I don't understand a word my mother says. Please explain it clearly to me. In the future, you might invite trouble." Qianzhen honestly told her, "You have such a character. I doubt you'd make a living through work. Why not become a woman of a good family? Enjoy some warm rice. There's a wealthy official in this town. He's one of the biggest landowners here, formerly served as an officer, now retired at home. He's not that old, and he's very generous. He fell in love with you and wants to marry you as a second wife. After you pass through the door, you'll not only be free from servitude and enjoy comfort for life, but also your mother will benefit from it too." Mao, startled, exclaimed, "Oh, such an astonishing thing. I already have a husband. How can you now approve of someone else? A chaste woman doesn't take a second husband. Why do you even consider it?" Qianzhen, shocked, asked, "You have a husband? How could your parents approve without their knowledge and consent?" Mao answered, "I dare not make decisions on my own. This match was arranged by both my parents. Could I, because of his lack of gifts, regret the arrangement?" Qianzhen exclaimed in surprise, "I never agreed to anyone. You must have seen a ghost." He then asked, "Who is the family? Which one? Tell me." Mao said, "It's Tan Chuyu, the official. Didn't you remember?" Qianzhen replied, "This is strange. I never agreed to marry him. Why would he come to learn drama?" Mao explained, "He's a scholar's son, currently studying in the academy, endowed with extraordinary talent, achieving success effortlessly. He was drawn to me because he couldn't approach me closely. Thus, he used learning drama as a stepping stone. He feared that his facial features wouldn't match the leading role, so he wanted to change it to a Shen clean-cut character. This is clearly a marriage proposal veiled as a riddle. Both my parents were performers. How could there be any difficulty in understanding? From this point on, if they don't allow him to stay and learn drama, or allow him to switch roles, it's clear they approve of the match. Why did they change their minds now? This seems unreasonable." Jiang Xian said, "Good, good, good. What a cunning scheme. Just with these few clever words, he could convince you to marry him without hesitation. Even for such an important matter as marriage, there is always a matchmaker involved. If it involves reporting to someone in authority, there needs to be some sort of evidence. Tell me, who is your matchmaker?" "Who is your evidence?" Meyer said. "How can you say I have no evidence? Those watching the play all say that I and he are meant for each other. We shared cups of wine countless times, and called each other husband and wife numerous times. Isn't it real?" Jiang Xian said, You look at this child, he's neither foolish nor obedient, saying nothing but nonsense. How can a married couple on stage be considered genuine? Mayer said, in this world, everything else is subject to performance, but not marriage. Although there have been many actors throughout history, have you ever seen one who played the male role recognize the female role as his true wife, or vice versa? If we must feign it, then let's make it real. I'm not like other actresses. At night, I sleep with one face, and by day, I present another. I have no shame left, nor any sense of honor. The child is someone who values both shame and honor, so he dares not treat the marriages on stage as false. This husband must be married to. Jiangxian said, You dare insult me? You say I'm shameless and without honor? If I am indeed shameless and dishonorable, then what's left of our mother-son bond? And with that, she went inside to sleep, saying she would talk to her again after the play ended. My offerings may not be welcome back to me, but at least they won't be ignored. Let them tear up the wedding contract. Return my 1,000 gold as a pillow. Mayer said, Look at him going in there. Lang. I've been faithful and enduring with you, hoping for a chance to emerge from this struggle. But who knew halfway through, something like this happened. Her mother, upon seeing the silver, was as eager as a hungry monkey finding fruit, or a starving dog smelling meat. Once it's in her mouth, she'll never spit it out. This misfortune cannot be escaped. Let's flee together while he's still outside. Tomorrow, let's find a secluded place, and travel for several days before we make our next move. Upon reaching the second door, they found it locked. They couldn't shout loudly or climb over the wall. After standing there for a while, Mare returned to her own room, sighing. Lang, I cannot follow you in death, so how can I betray your heart? She then untied the belt around her waist and tied it above the beam. She moved a log and stood on it. At this moment, between life and death, all would be revealed in the next chapter. The 7th chapter. Why die in obscurity and become a mute widow? Ultimately, what kind of death is best? Insulting each other on stage while using the play as an excuse, the faithful couple flees together, one to see the beloved and to summon their spirit face to face. Secondly, for scholars and poets to hear of it and compose a few poems to leave an immortal legacy. If we have this chance, our fate was forged on the stage, so we should die with honor on that same stage. The Temple of Yan is precisely facing the great river. Half of the stage is on land, while the other half is in the water. Why not choose a dramatic death scene and take it seriously? Reasonable! To perform to the end, and then suddenly jump into the water, is this not the first remarkable event among loyal women who have died for their cause from ancient times to today? Mother pushed her daughter away. What will become of our familial bonds? One night's delay in death is not without hope. To leave behind a fragrant name and benefit many. The next day, Chu Yu learned of this. She thought to herself, As Liu Meigu, I have suffered countless humiliations, hoping for an opportunity to fulfill this desire. How can it be that our fate is merely this? But her mother received 1,000 gold pieces as a dowry, and intends to sell her to the Qian family as a concubine. He initially recited the script line by line, directly singing to me. My heart belongs to him, secretly longing, unafraid of heaven's disapproval. These 3 words were so passionate. Shouldn't heaven fear, but only people? He must have a plan. Even if parents disapprove of our union, he might not be willing to perform this play today. He will certainly face many obstacles to get on stage. She decided to go to the stage first and wait for him. When he appears, she would know his appearance by then. Just as they say, do not ask about fortunes in the door, observe their faces to know. So, I stayed up all night, rewriting an old play with new plot points. First, I'll wait in the theater. Then, when everyone arrives, we can start performing. Meigu explained. Yesterday, I considered ending my life, only because I couldn't see Tan Lang, and wanted to see him once more. Secondly, I wanted to pour out all my heart to everyone. I must act normally. Feigning happiness is the only safe bet. However, if I show even a hint of sadness in front of them, they will see through it, and I might not be able to die. Just as they say, a loyal subject faces death without fear. A valiant woman at risk still smiles. When everyone saw Meigu go on stage, they all said, Big Sister Liu, we hear you have someone. Today we come to congratulate you. Meigu smiled and replied, Indeed. I practiced this play for 1 day only. Tomorrow it cannot continue. Rely on everyone's support. Let us all contribute our hearts to seal my lifelong fate. What do you think? Everyone agreed. We are also willing. What's the problem? Chu Yu thought to herself, How could there be such a heartless woman in the world, such a shameful woman? She does not seem worried at all, and even has the audacity to say these things. If I had known this earlier, I would never have deigned to lower myself like this. How can prostitutes nurture chaste women? Moreover, thinking about it, why should a female actor be considered a prostitute? It's no wonder that I regret it. Again thinking of him, or with a troubled heart, afraid that people might see the blossoming, he feigned such smiles and spoke such words, unknowable. Let's see how he greets us. Far off, he saw Chen Qian coming, and said, "Enemies meeting are extra vigilant." With 10,000 gons in the audience, pointing at Aiyuezhuren said, "He is different now from before. He is my step-relative. You actors, even if you're putting on a show, should maintain some distance. No more crammed and crowded. It doesn't look presentable." Aiyuezhuren said, "After I finish this play, I'll come to your home. My intention is to put on several good plays with all my heart, away from the eyes of everyone. Will you allow me?" Wang Guan said, "Of course." Wang Guan asked, "Which plays do you want to act in?" Aiyuezhuren said, "There are 2 conditions, which I request. 1, don't perform the full play, do short scenes. 2, no cues, let me create the scenes myself. Only then can I show my true talent. Start when you're ready, and the rest of the plays can be done at your leisure." Aiyuezhuren said, "The most appealing to me is Jinkyoji, with the scene called Embracing the Stone and Jumping into the River, which I have recently rewritten, different from the old version." Wang Guan said, "Understood. I just want you to go on stage soon. It was my own fault for mistaking him earlier." Chuang heard this and thought, "Does it look like he's finally deciding to marry him? Now, I can't take it back. Let him go." Aiyuezhuren said, "Quickly, beat the drums. Prepare for me to go on stage." Chuang answered, "I'm blind. I can't see you." She also called out to Chuang, "Big brother Tan, don't worry. Watch me perform." Aiyuezhuren remained silent. She addressed the crowd. "It's already noon. Let's begin the play." Wang Guan appeared on stage wearing a silk dress and a blue felt hat, holding a chair and sat down close to the stage. Spectators crowded in. Aiyuezhuren came on stage as Chen Yulan. She sang, "Suffered defeats and detentions, not allowed by anyone to dry my tears. With no way to wash away my hatred or shame, at the critical moment, I decided to die in the river as a ghost." Rest of the text continues with the play and its narrative pointing to Wang Gundao. Wait until I treat this rock by the river as him. Pointing at him, I scold him a sentence, straight through till the rock nods. "That's when I stop." Sing, "True teeth cannot tolerate." Angrily pointing at Wang Gundao, bad-hearted thief. You're someone who doesn't study or understand logic. I won't lecture you on morals and virtues, but I advise you to look at the river water. See what kind of face it reflects, if it suits me. This unmatched beauty? Never seen a vulture becoming a husband, nor a beautiful peacock forced into marriage with a crow. Sing. Again pointing. Heartless bandit, you only seek your own happiness, breaking up other couples. For example, if your wife is forcibly taken away by someone else, how would you feel? I advise you to wake up your conscience, compare your heart and stomach. Why indulge in lust, arrogance, misleading others? Sing. Again pointing disgraceful turtle, as the saying goes, I don't defile anyone's wife. No one defiles my wife, but you take away someone else's wife in broad daylight. How would you know that your wife wouldn't be taken away in secret? Another woman's wife refuses to betray her loyalty. She'd rather jump into the river than do so. Just afraid your wife doesn't have such fiery spirit. I advise her to look back and protect her household. Just afraid you'll go looking for a wolf and lose your child behind. Wangan nods his head, exclaiming, "Well said. These are new points, indeed improved." Moer says, "Since the rock is knotted, I have no choice but to stop talking. Now, holding the stone, I must find my way back." She turns back and tells Chu Yu, "My husband. Your wife remembers her previous words. She was set on marrying you. But today, she can't, so she jumps into the river. You must take care of yourself. Don't miss me anymore." After saying this, she jumps off the stage. Wangan cries out, "Come quickly to rescue him." Everyone starts making a noise. Chuyu runs to the edge of the stage and calls out loudly, "Liu Moer is not someone else. She's my husband Tan Chuyu's wife. Her death today was not an accident. It was her choice to die for her loyalty. Like this underwater, I doubt if anyone can rescue him. Since she became a chaste woman, I should become her loyal companion." She calls out to the water, "My dear wife, slow down a bit, wait for me." And with that, she jumps into the water too. To know the details, listen to the next part, Bimoyu.